Yes, I'm very fully aware of how shit my voice sounds throughout the entire duration of this video. If you don't like it, buy me a better microphone and a soundproof room so I can record whenever I want. On to the video. In case you guys don't know already, these My Story animated type motherfuckers on YouTube have been doing these shitty Storytime drawn, whatever you want to call them, videos for a while now. Really, they're just low effort clickbait attempts with funny sex in thumbnail to attract, teenagers. You know, YouTube's main demographic. So, today I thought I'd check out this one. I honestly don't know how they put such little effort into just the thumbnail and the title here. I mean, most of these are these big clickbait things, and then this singular video is just, just no punctuation, none of that. Let's just hop into it already. Less than a second in, I've already got one really big issue. What the fuck is this quote? Why is it here? What does it have to do with I switched my body with boss or some shit? Whatever the title was. What does this have to do with that? I don't understand. Let's just get into the actual video.
But it was better than nothing. However, someone had the pleasure of making my and my coworker situation much harder.
I really have no idea why those 2 minutes of unadulterated filter about just her life and everything that's led up to her getting this job was important at all to the body switching thing.
I hated Amelia. She was the manager of my branch and a complete rich girl. She would strut around the office asking employees what they thought about the latest designer bag she had acquired.
God, I can't believe her manager is a member of the Ace family.
She was a despicable human and an even worse manager.
Okay, what do you mean that she's only part human? Does her consciousness fucking transform into a lizard when she becomes the manager or some shit? Why did you have to make those separate things?
And that evening, she was approaching my desk specifically. "Good evening," I stated, not even turning to look at her. "Good evening. Just wanted to let you know that the pay raise you requested was declined." My eyes widened, and this time I did turn around to look at her. "Amelia, you control the pay raises. I need the money. I can barely make it to the end of the month," I said, my eyes pleading.
You can really tell they were going for an anime look with these characters, so that people would want to identify with them more, just generally want to feel more emotion in them, because there's some fucking great animes out there with tons of emotion. This is not one of them. This is just some shitty YouTube story. And honestly, I don't know how much more I can take this. I can take this for a snap.
The company can't afford to lose that much money. I saw red as she left.
Yeah, well, I'm the real Kira, and I'm gonna write your name in my death note.
I exclaimed, and slumped back down in my chair. Tears started rolling down my cheeks. I was upset. I was furious. I looked at the time and realized that my shift was thankfully over. I grabbed my stuff and went home.
What the fuck was that transition? Thought my hot femboy ghost boyfriend was giving me a little kiss right there. But no, it was just some shitty transition. Like, you didn't even take the time to pause in between the vocal take right there. Couldn't at least put a pause so it wouldn't just go...
Arriving home, I realized I didn't have anything to eat for dinner. I didn't have extra money either, so I decided to just go to sleep and start fresh the next morning. I put on an
There's the money shot!
Old t-shirt and shorts and laid down in bed. I was so done with my life, so done with the struggle, so done with Amelia and her lack of consideration and empathy. I wished for once that she could feel exactly the way I felt, but I didn't have a lot of time to wish for anything else because soon enough, I fell sound asleep.
Next morning, I actually woke up and I was in a Disney movie. It's very clear to tell that they're just ripping off every single two people from different facets of life change minds for a day trope that has been done in entertainment a million times. I mean, heck, you're ripping off a live-action Bill Murray Garfield film here. For fuck's sake, man.
Covered in a feather duvet and surrounded by fluffy pillows, something that definitely did not belong in my usual bedroom. It didn't take me long to jump up from the comfortable bed to realize that I was not where I was supposed to be. The room was white and big, and it looked like it belonged to a millionaire. Big bed, enormous amount of space, and probably an en-suite bathroom as well. I furrowed my eyebrows in confusion. What was I doing here, and who did this room belong to? But I didn't have time to think, because the alarm on my phone went off. However, it wasn't even my phone. It was an expensive phone, one of those I just knew I couldn't afford. I turned it off and sat for a minute to process. I had not drank because I couldn't afford to party. I had not been kidnapped because I was very sure I wouldn't have been put in a room so nice. And I was not delirious either because everything felt very true around.
How do you know this isn't a group of Harvard researchers just kidnapping you and keeping you in a fancy room to see what the effects could be? How do you know that this is... I mean, with the delirious thing as well, it feeling very true, you do know, like, schizophrenic people and shit like that, they believe everything in their mind, right? Like, you could very easily be suffering from dementia right now.
I wondered what to do. I didn't know if I was supposed to go find out who had placed me in that room while I was asleep, if I was to go to my actual home and get some answers, or simply just go to work and not lose the amount of money I couldn't afford to lose for one day.
I'm a broke college student. I just woke up in a room full of expensive electronics. Sell it. Just get a bunch of the stuff, pawn it off, get some money, quit your shit job. I don't understand this girl's logic.
Desk to find someone already sitting there. To my dismay, it was Amelia. "Good morning, Amelia," I greeted her, and she looked up at me. Her face was red and puffy as if she had been crying. She did not even look up at me. "Good morning," she growled, focusing on her work again. "Why are you sitting at my desk?" I blurted out, and she looked at me with an incredulous face. Standing up, she crossed her arms in disgust. "Aren't you funny, making fun of your employees when you know your situation is so much better?" I looked at her in confusion. My eyes roamed her outfit. I recognized the cheap suit and the tattered kitten heels. My world froze for a moment, and a crazy thought popped into my head. What if Amelia and I had changed lives? It was
Well, every single aspect that was between us has completely swapped, but, we probably didn't change lives, probably just a big coincidence.
Use my new position to make things better. Change the story. So
Most of the time in these animated stories, the bitch will just say something like, "Oh, well, I stole her life and I used all her money to buy expensive cars that I couldn't." And it's just really fucking stupid. It's kind of a refresher to see this once again, but it's still not good. It's still not good by any mean of the word.
Someone interrupted my train of thought. Philip, the assistant, came in. He was always fearful around Amelia. He was shaking and quiet as he entered the room.
Amelia, the type of bitch to dress up in latex, tie this dude up and peg him.
"Your coffee, miss," he said, setting the cup down on my desk. "Good morning, Philip. How are you today?"
I haven't mentioned it until now because it wasn't really noticeable, but can we talk about how shitty this animation is? You can just tell they had literally fucking no budget. They probably got somebody off of Fiverr to do this shit.
I beamed with joy. He looked at me, his eyes widening. "I am good, thank you, miss." I looked into her bank account and was shocked with the income Amelia had.
I can understand. If Amelia has thousands of dollars, but 37 fucking million? Really?
I went window shopping with a strange feeling of knowing that I could buy anything I wanted. I had struggled with money most of my life, and being allowed to have some treats felt like heaven. I went back to sleep in the big duvet-clad, fluffy pillow-filled bed that night. As much as I loved Amelia's life, I knew that money came from hard work and that it does not buy happiness.
I know that money comes from hard work and doesn't buy happiness, says the bitch who literally just woke up with no work into a life of a bunch of money and is now way happier than she used to be. I swear to fucking God, this character, dumb ass.
She was shuffling her feet as if she was shy. She sat down in front of me. "How can I help you, Amelia?" I asked. She looked at me and a tear rolled down her face. "I need help," she said. "I am struggling. I can't pay my rent anymore. I'm about to get kicked out of my apartment and I can't adjust to this new life. I really can't." I nodded. "I don't really know how this happened, Amelia, but I know what you're going through. And instead of doing what you would have done in this case, I am going to do the opposite. I am going to promote you." Amelia's eyes widened and a smile glowed on her face. "You are? She asked in disbelief. Yes, but just because I understand what it's like to struggle, and I don't want that for you. I am showing you why kindness matters. Thank you, she smiled. I could tell that she was really thinking about my words. She stood up and walked out. Even though everyone at the office still hated me, I was certain that helping Amelia was the right thing to do.
The main reason why I decided to pick this story today, is because I feel like it's a good reason. It's a good example. It's a good example of what to do when making an animated story like this. If you're one of these big mass-produced channels, don't make your character an entitled bitch like most of them do. I'm not saying this story's perfect. By no means. I've been ragging on it this entire video, but at least the character has morals and isn't some just whiny bitch who expects everything. I can at least admire that much about this.
Even with my newfound luxury, I would have never wished a constant struggle to anyone, not even Amelia. Amelia really improved with her promotion. She was able to pay rent and pay her college dues. She worked harder than ever before, and she became extremely kind to everyone around her. She even saved enough money to treat herself to small luxuries, like going on a holiday, where she actually found love.
Break out the L word.
Lesbian?
The other L word.
Lesbians?
Hey, I was jealous of her. Yes, she didn't have a big bank account, but people had actually grown to like her. She had a purpose and a life worth living, now filled with joy and happiness, much different than me. Months went by, slowly and painfully. The loneliness was killing me, and I was getting tired of the luxury life.
Oh, so we on that One Punch Man shit now.
I couldn't find a way out of it, or an answer to how I had stolen Amelia's life and given her mine. I grew more desperate with every day that passed. For once, I missed my normal, struggling life. It was cold one night, and the penthouse was even colder. I settled in between the duvet and the pillows, the only comforting and nice thing I could find about living in Amelia's shoes by then. I was exhausted and depressed, and all I wished was that I could go back to my normal life, even with its bad things. I woke up the next morning. Shock creeped on me when I realized I had woken up in my old apartment, wearing the same t-shirt and shorts I had changed lives with, lying in my old uncomfortable bed. It had all been a dream.
Oh, you have